When Harper's Corner started, Harper, my daughter, was 4. She's now 6. And she is biracial. She comes from African descent and obviously Eastern European descent in my space. And so, in our home, we've just always talked about differences. Me being fair skin, blonde hair, Harper being brown skin and, beautiful brown eyes and brown curly hair. We've always had a lot of conversation in our house about differences. So in June of 2020, when George Floyd was murdered, I know that we all, as a society, were thinking about ways in which we could help and make a positive impact on the community. And I really started to think about Harper, and was I being her best ally? Were there things that I could do for her and kids like her to have more representation? So I decided to post on Facebook that I wanted to donate 1,000 books to the local school district that I live in. And within 5 or 6 days, I had about $9,000 in Venmo donations. I had books coming to my home. My guest bedroom turned into a mini library. And I think at that time, it really obviously resonated with a lot of people, and it told me there was a lot more work we could do together. And so I reached out to a local bookstore because I'm a mom who reads to her daughter, but I am by no means a children's book expert, and they helped me start to curate a book list of books that we could donate to schools.
In partnership with Harper's Corner, as well as local educators, librarians, and former librarians, we worked to create an incredible list of books that then is used as both a teaching tool within schools, but also a place where any child can go to learn about seeing themselves in books, about learning to see others in books as well.
And I was really passionate about having initially different sections of our book list. So racial and ethnic diversity, and LGBTQ section of our book list, which is completely underrepresented in schools. And also a girl empowerment. Harper, my daughter, is an amazing 6-year-old, and I want to make sure that girls see themselves in the books that are in school and different types of stories about girls.
I personally looked at several different lists that were coming out at that time. I looked at things like the School Library Journal, the Horn Book, other organizations that serve then libraries, librarians, and educators. Then to say what is of great value, but I also looked at other organizations and other tastemakers in the sense of like the Caldecott winners and the Newbery Award winners, to also see where we would have gaps, where we could fill those in. I also saw an opportunity to highlight either authors of color or other authors that are within the state of Ohio that could also align with what Harper's Corner is trying to do.
My book is titled I'm Gonna Have a Good Day, and it's a book about a girl named Gabby. Gabby likes to have a good day at school, but her good days means I'm gonna tease, I'm gonna prank my classmates. It was an accident, said Gabby. Mrs. Beetle continued to point at the thinking chair. Gabby yelled, I'm gonna have a good day! I'm gonna have a good day! I'm gonna have a good day! A lot of times when we talk about children like myself, from my background, disadvantage, low income or what have you, we sometimes forget that those children have dreams. And I can remember as a child loving to read books, and always writing stories. And it's so funny because I keep a picture of myself when I was around 6 years old on my home office desk. And it inspires me to keep reading and to keep writing, because that child, that Paula, knew exactly what she was made to do.
My children's book is called Fun for Anyone, a story about standing out. Collections like this are important because stereotypes for children start at a very early age. As soon as they're exposed to other kids and other families, then they're picking up different information and different feedback of what is acceptable. And even like in kindergarten, where kids will tell you, oh, that's not okay to do that. And it can be like playing with dolls, or it can be like just doing crafts. And another kid's like so taken back because they thought it was fun. People have taken the time to put these together because children really need things that they can identify with. And if it doesn't exist, then it often makes you feel excluded, and it makes you feel like there's something not right about you.
Rudine Sims Bishop, emeritus at The Ohio State University, has created a concept that's widely known throughout the literary circles. She's created this concept of mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. Mirrors, being able as a reader to see yourself in a work. Windows, as being a portal into others that you can see their perspectives. And sliding glass doors, being able to see those perspectives, opening up that door and stepping into a different environment, completely different than your own, creating kindness and empathy. Those are all extremely important for any reader.
It doesn't matter if you have a diverse community. I think every child should be exposed to diverse books. Every child should know about other cultures, about other religions, about other ways of growing up. That might mean their grandparents are raising them. That might mean they have a physical handicap.
I would like it to be where we evolve enough to where people are more focused on how can I bring others together as how can I single them out and make them feel poorly.
My book today is called Mixed, A Colorful Story. And this was written by Ari Chung. In the beginning, there were 3 colors: yellows, reds, and blues. I like that each color thinks that they're the best and that, you know, that's the way you should be, is just that color. But throughout the story, they realize once they start mixing and being together that it's a much more vibrant and beautiful space. It wasn't perfect, but it was home. They're always excited about new books. But this is just a little bit more. They're seeing things that they've never seen before. They're reading about people they may not understand, and then they realize, oh, we're alike. We're not really that different. Intersection allies. We make room for all. Good one. Different teachers are reacting differently to different books, and they're excited about it, and the kids are excited to see all these new wonderful things. I even had a mother tell me, "Thank you so much for showing my daughter this book. She loved it so much."
So actually during the pandemic, I was a casualty in the job market. I lost my job, and in the 4 months that I wasn't working a day job, I partnered with OSU and we wrote a grant together, and it was called the Remote edX Grant, which would support educators in a remote, hybrid, or in-person learning environment. And we combined that with the diversity, equity, and inclusion work that we're doing with Harpers Corner. And what I'm excited about and where we are today is that in the initial stages of Harpers Corner, and the mission still today is about donating books, quality books that represent all different types of children and families in schools. But we are now coupling it with professional development and resource guides that we're creating in partnership with other school districts for every single book that we donate to help the educators and librarians.
Did you like this book? Yeah. Does anybody else have anything they want to say about this book? It's good. You know, it kind of reminds me of West Broad, because every one of us are different, and if one of us was missing, it just wouldn't be as nice, would it?
We've received emails from places as far as Anchorage, Alaska to be a part of Harpers Corner. There's over 4,000 elementary schools in North America. Ideally, a Harpers Corner would be in every single one of those elementary schools in the United States. So that would be the long-term goal, and to continue to get support and funding to be able to do that.
I'm just so thankful that the children in our school have the opportunity to read these books, to even look at the pictures in the books and see the artwork is just wonderful. I mean, they're happy about seeing themselves.
I remember this little girl coming up to me with my book, and the book was held halfway down her face, and I hear her voice saying, "Is this me?" And this "is this me" was more of a question mark. And I'm looking at her and seeing how she dressed, and the way she's dressed and the way her hair is, you would have thought that she copied my book. And I said to her, I said, "Baby, do you believe this is you?" And she said, "Yes." And at that point, it hit me once again. You did it, Paula. any books that makes a child go, that's me, and that was your goal, that was a huge awakening for me. Like, this is not about you. This is about a bigger picture. You're just the vessel that brought this into play.